Good afternoon. This is Joseph Fosco, publisher of American News Post. We're doing our sports today. Today is Monday, June 10th. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to make an announcement that we will be doing the sports twice a week. We'll be doing it on Mondays and Thursdays. So our next show will be Thursday, June 13th. I'm here with Michael Magnifici, our sports celebrity, and Mr. Coconati, our political corruption guru. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Thank you. Very good.
I like Michael. Did you see his eyes? How he closed them when I put those prestigious titles on everything. I'm sorry.
You could just call a plain old host of a sports show.
But I like to make it sound a little more enticing.
It makes everybody get a little more interested. That's okay. Frank, we had an interesting weekend this week. We're going to catch up a little bit on the basketball here, which is obviously the most popular. San Antonio came in and stole one.
Yeah. How about no one was surprised with Miami coming out of the
Miami is
the Indiana game?
I told you.
Yeah,
I said that if
you were right on the button there.
I said that if they win, the spread was 7.5. I said if they win, they're going to
kill them.
Double digit.
Yeah,
and they did. They won by 23 points. They did that's Michael Jordan's number. They did a 23 on them.
Yeah.
They did a 23 on Indiana, but I just knew that Miami has got an uncanny knack of the fact that when they lose, it's like you've got to press these guys. Mm-hmm. They know they're the best. And without a doubt, they are. And it just doesn't seem like they lose two in a row. I think it happened January 8th and January 10th of this year. It was the only time they had back-to-back.
Are you talking about January or June?
January,
right. Yeah.
Going back to the regular season.
Yeah, sure, of course.
I think that was their last time they lost 2 games in a row. And they're just, it seems like when they do lose a game, they get feisty and they say it's a moment of urgency, and they come back and they just, the spread doesn't mean anything. And I'm a numbers guy. And I would bet every time that Miami loses, with this core of players they have together, I would bet with them all the time that they will double digit the spread every time.
Because sooner or later you're going to win.
They're going to. They're not going to lose 2 in a row. They just don't do that. Now, did I like San Antonio? Yeah, I did, and I still do. I think that San Antonio's got an edge on them. I really do. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Miami does win this championship. I mean, it's hard to go against them, but if anybody's going to beat them, this veteran team, Tony Parker, Ginobili, and Duncan, you got these
great
guys,
coach. You got
Greg Popovich. You got a core of just like these are all Hall of Fame people.
Yeah.
These guys are stepping into the Hall of Fame. The minute the ballot gets up and they're eligible, pencil their names in because they're going in first ballot Hall of Famers. Whether it be coach and players, they're going in.
They've been like a sleeper team for the last 5-10 years.
Well, they
won a championship.
They won in 07, and if you recall, in 07, Duncan ran into he beat. Well, then he was a Cleveland.
Right.
He beat LeBron James, and he says this league is going to be yours someday.
Yeah. The Cavaliers won the championship.
6 years ago, he says this league, you're going to own this league, which he does right now. He is the greatest player on not in the NBA, the greatest player on the planet.
Yeah, right.
There's nobody in Europe playing better than him. He's the best player that there is. And he said that to him. And he says, oh, you're just saying that because you just, after you win a title, you could say whatever.
Cleveland was favored to win that year, I think.
No, they weren't. No, they were thought of as a very good underdog. That they did have a shot, but they were an underdog.
He was a baby. He left the game at the
he went into the league at 17 years old. He never went to college.
Yeah, he lost to San Antonio. He didn't shake nobody's hand or something. He walked off the court. They were really blasting him. But he's matured.
And that's what amazes me is when you go like, we'll touch on the hockey for a little bit here. You go with hockey. These guys sit there and they're beating the shit out of each other. Excuse my language. They're beating the heck out of each other.
So I got to remind you that Joe Flasco is a Catholic and he doesn't like swearing.
Well, a good Catholic.
A good Catholic.
I am Christian myself.
Yeah.
I'll do,
So next time you either say poop or...
What we'll do, we'll put a little note on the written piece that says, something about children should...
Yeah, right, you check with their parents
Yeah,
before listening.
well, they should.
Well, they should.
Because I am a God-fearing person, believe me, I am. And, what happens with hockey, which is amazing to me, is these guys, literally 30 minutes ago, they're sitting there beating each other's brains out, and then they're shaking hands, they're hugging each other.
It's amazing.
That's the sportsmanship that they have about hockey. And hockey, football is probably the most violent sport, I would think. But you can't tell me that hockey is that much far behind them. The speed of hockey and the things that go on. And getting back onto the hockey, you talk about, like I told you earlier in the week, I said the speed of the Hawks, and it's going to be, and we did touch on the fact that these 4 teams, now it's down to 2, these were 4 of the last 4 Stanley Cup winners.
You were right.
Boston, Pittsburgh, Chicago, and LA Kings. The last 4 Stanley Cup winners. Here they are in the Final 4 of hockey.
Which is amazing.
It's pretty amazing. It's really something to see, and a lot of people are, and you get your diehard Chicago Blackhawks fans, which we are.
Right.
Oh, of course, the Wurtzes, and you.
Well,
Well, you're acquainted with them, so.
Well, I had a casual relation with one of the late Wurtzes, and
Arthur?
No, Bill, but
Billy?
yes, and in addition, was my late Uncle Romy when he was involved in the liquor drivers union or whatever union it was. He had a lot of dealings with the Wurtz family.
They own Judge and Dahl Liquors.
They were good to my uncle and
Good
vice
people.
versa.
They were the Wurtzes they're wonderful people. They really are. I've heard you say that before that you owe.
Well, I know you have. I won't go into names, but I know you have some very close friends that are. In fact, even family that know them very well.
Exactly
yes.
right.
And I won't go into names.
Right, and they have, they're very fond of them, and vice versa.
Yeah.
They have a very good working relationship.
So let's go back to the Heat. You want to go back, or are we done with the...
No, I'll go back to that. Frank, I don't know. Okay, here, you got to look at it this way. San Antonio did steal one out there in, Miami, and that's a big thing.
But so are the Bulls.
See, now, the one thing you got to understand is that this is a 2-3-2. This isn't a 2-2-1-1-1 series, which favors...
Explain that then.
Well, that means that they get 3 home games in a
Miami
row.
does.
No, San Antonio does.
Oh,
they don't
really?
have home court advantage. So 4 of them are going to be played where it's 2, play the 3 stretch in the middle,
right.
At San Antonio, and then you get the 2 back. And that favors the team with the home advantage. It's like an 82-point-something% favorability.
And that's Miami.
And that's Miami.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because it's hard to lose a team like Miami, who obviously got home court for one reason. Why? Because they're the better team.
Right.
They get the best record.
Right.
And it's going to be hard for them to blow 3 in a row. Now, you could see San Antonio winning 2 in a row, which they did. They did steal that one game. They should have gotten that other game. You can't go by the score. The box score does not, show what happened. They went on a 30, I believe it was a 35-6 run that they went at. They scored 35 points, and these guys answered back with 6. It was just...
San Antonio did? Yeah.
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous what they did. And, if Miami goes there, if Miami's, they're the type of team, Miami's going to win a game in there.
Right.
They're going to win a game out of 3, which brings back the home court to them. And I don't believe that they're going to get blown. Not the last 2 games. I believe they got a little tired. They did have a 7-game grueling series with Indiana. And Indiana's Big Ben, they beat the hell out of them.
Right.
San Antonio's named it, and they're older. Ginobili's older. Parker,
Duncan seems like he's been playing.
He's all first team.
Yeah.
But he's right there. I mean, he's still playing good, but nevertheless,
age takes over.
It's gonna beat you up. It's gonna get to you sooner or later. But
so what do you say? What would you say the series goes?
I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to go against what everybody's saying. I'm going to go San Antonio. I think San Antonio wins in 7.
Wow.
Which is going to be a tough game to win, which means that they got to go to San Antonio on Game 7, tied at 3-3,
Right.
obviously,
Well,
and they have to win that game. But I believe they could do it.
yeah.
Well, you've been pretty good lately,
Well, that's why you should start going against me.
Are you putting money on the game?
Well, you know, I only do legal stuff.
Well,
Like
naturally,
everybody, like 90% of America does.
that goes without saying.
Right.
But are you going to put any money on the game?
Yeah, I will.
You will?
Yeah.
Then I'm not gonna put any stock in what you say.
I don't blame you.
When you don't
When I don't bet, then you
your
know.
predictions all
My
come
predictions
true, but
all come
You're putting
true.
money on it. I don't know now.
I
But,
like the prediction. I think
I think they could do it. I mean, you know what? This Game 3 is going to be when we get back together, they're playing Game 3 on Wednesday night, I believe.
okay.
So we will be able to talk about that on Thursday. It'll be fresh in our minds, so that'll be a good thing. If San Antonio wins that game, then you could, be in that I have put money on the game, short money. I don't have any money to be putting out there for.
You don't have a large expendable
Large
account.
expendable account,
Sorry to hear that.
Yes. I just, I bet 50, 100,000.
So San Antonio and
No
7.
big deal.
50 or 100,000?
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna go crazy. You know that, Joe. I wouldn't. Why would I?
Let's get back to hockey now. You watched the Hawks. They beat the
Beat the
Kings,
Kings.
which was I watched it myself. I mean,
Well, we knew when they were up 3-1. We did say that both of us agreed
Right.
that it would be very tough. Although the Hawks came back from a 3-1 deficit
Right.
in the
Right.
last series.
right.
I don't know. The Hawks, once again, I'm going to go by what the experts say. I mean, I'm no hockey guru. I go by what the experts say, and I can see it. They have too much speed. They just are way too fast. You see the way they skate. They're like, it's like 5 Wayne Gretzky's out on the ice every time they play. And
When you say guru, you don't roll your eyes. When I say guru, you roll.
I'm sorry.
He doesn't like compliments. But I noticed that, like with Detroit, Detroit played rough, hitting every time someone touched the puck, hit them. But it seems like after a certain point, the talent takes over with the Hawks, and they overcome it. And the other team gets tired. But I was impressed with the Kings and how they maintained it. Even their last game was unbelievable.
They kept it there. It was never a given. You never hit that comfortable 3-1 lead like you normally would have when you say, we just got to win one out of the next 3 games. And you never know. With the Kings. And I told you, Jonathan Quick, if he's got to be the best player in the ice.
And if he wasn't, I don't think he was playing.
My stepson Vincent here, just give him a little shout out. He predicted the Hawks would win. He did say. He said the Hawks will win it, and his pick is that he likes the Hawks all the way through.
All the way through.
Now that's a fan standpoint. He's a young boy. He's 16 years old. But
I think
sometimes those are the best opinions.
Right.
Right.
Sometimes those are the best opinions.
Oh yeah, because they're watching it more. I think
Right.
they're watching all the little
Right.
intricacies of the game.
And I think that the Hawks. It's gonna be a tough.
Boston's
Boston's
tough.
tough. They're big. They're
tough. I mean, they.
Joe, do you watch? Boston Bruins. They don't call them
I
Bruins
agree
for
with you.
nothing. They're gonna knock the living heck out of the Hawks.
Yes.
They're gonna beat them up. They're gonna, with the Hawks win, believe me, they're gonna be limping off. Yeah, that Stanley Cup, they might not be able to hold it because that's how beat up they're gonna be.
Right.
They're gonna be like, if you give Arthur Wirtz is or not Arthur, he's gone, but Billy Wirtz is gonna have.
He's gone too.
Oh, Billy too. Oh, I'm sorry.
It will be amazing if they do.
Well, Rocco will have to come out, and he'll have to carry it because these guys are going to be so beat up after this series. It's going to be a bruising series. You watch and see.
And who do you think's going to win?
I'm Chicago. I'm going with the Hawks.
Yeah. See, I think Boston's going to do it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, so I'll do it. Like you're going.
Okay, we're going. All right.
I don't like them. I think the.
We'll mark it down.
Right. I think Boston is just got too much.
Frank on record. Boston.
And I'm putting up my house. So.
Legs on record. Hawks. So, and know why you're right, because I'm never right. So you basically got to
No, you know what? I like the Hawks a lot. I just don't think they'll neutralize Kane. You know, they hit him a couple times, they knock him out of the game.
He gets a little flustered.
He doesn't
take a little punch.
I mean, he looked great in that last game.
Right.
But he was getting a lot of help with the line he was on. Plus, the Kings retired, and I just think Boston's better than the Kings. I mean, Boston's just got the goalie.
They're tougher.
They got a lot of good players.
I
They
agree
beat
with you.
Pittsburgh 4-0.
I agree with you.
I mean, Pittsburgh was the elite team.
Did you get a chance to watch the Belmont at all?
No, I didn't.
The horse. What was it? Palicio Malice won 29.60. Paid one
Wow.
shot. I mean, it was just a huge.
So there was a lot of money won there, right?
Yeah, well, somebody did. You know, I don't know anybody that did, but you could always throw a horse in like that just for giggles and laughs. You know, you throw him, and he wasn't somebody you could ignore. But what they brought up a lot about was the last Belmont win, Triple Crown winners. It was the 40th anniversary of Secretariat
Yeah.
winning the Triple Crown.
Sure.
Won by 31 lengths. I mean, do you know that?
That's unbelievable.
It's enormous.
That is like so historically
Sure.
unbelievable. You'll never see anything in sports that is that transcending. That, you know, something like that. The 31 lengths, and you know, after the half, he was like, what was he, a length up?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he just
Took off.
took off 31 lengths.
That's how head
And they were
shoulders he
showing
was
that,
above
you
the
know, it was like
rest.
1972, 73, something
Right.
like that. And it just brought back all those old memories of, you know, then you start thinking about Affirmed and you
Right.
know, all these great horses,
Right.
which none of them were Secretariat.
Did they do a movie on,
Yeah,
was it Secretariat? Or?
yeah, they did away with Secretariat. Well, when they had the 50th greatest athletes of all time, which I don't know how you call a horse an athlete,
Right.
but Secretariat was 36.
Interesting.
Yeah, he was in the top. You
What
know,
all those athletes doing steroids, they become
well,
with the animals.
at that time, this was before the 2000s.
Yeah, right.
It was the turn of the century. You know, we were going into the 21st century.
Mhm.
Right.
And they did it and they did it every week. You know, 50, 49. They did like the last 50 greatest athletes. Scottie Pippen's in there. He's in the top.
Is he? Yeah.
He's in the top 25. Who do you think was number one?
Well, I don't know.
The biker,
Not sure.
the guy that races by Armstrong.
No.
No,
That was before he even had the steroid shit going on about him. He was in the top 10.
Yeah.
But they didn't have him in there. Michael Jordan was number one.
Well.
And Babe Ruth was number 2. Ali was 3, which I agree with. You know, you could have mixed up any one of those. And Gretzky was 4.
Sure.
You could have put anyone. You could have put. I mean, they changed rules in hockey over Gretzky.
Right.
They made rules that because wait a minute, this guy. You know, we got to come up with a rule. You can't do this. He's just way too good.
What was he doing? Like just carrying a puck on his head?
He was. You know what? I don't know. It's something. I'll look into it.
Yeah,
I will
but
get,
he
when
was
we talk on
unbelievable.
Thursday,
He was
I'll
unbelievable.
retouch on that.
Yeah.
That thing there. He did something that they were saying like this guy here is just no way in the world.
You gotta slow him up.
Yeah, he was just too great.
Yeah.
You know,
Dominant.
they didn't call him the
Dominant.
great one for nothing.
Right.
You know, he
Jordan
was
was
great.
something else
Were we going to go on with this?
Oh, the French. Yeah, I did want to touch on it. I know that a lot of our listeners aren't big tennis fans, but this was something. This guy here won his 7th French Open.
Who's that?
Rafael Nadal.
Ah, sure.
Rafael Nadal, and he, the way the pairings went down, Federer got, he beat Djokovic. I think he beat Djokovic in the semis, and then he went against Ferrer. F-E-R-R-E-R.
Federer?
No, not Federer, but it's Ferrer. It's something. It was whatever. They even have the ESPN guys have a tough time explaining it, because it sounds like Federer, but it wasn't Federer.
Right.
And Federer went out in the semis, and but he plays good on the clay, and that's one thing that that Federer betterer.
We'll call him, I'm a Mr. F. or,
Mr. F.
Mr. F. He does not play well on the clay.
Yeah.
What, you seem like you like tennis. I mean,
I like to, I watch the majors.
Yeah.
I do. I like the, I love Wimbledon. I
right.
really do. Wimbledon's coming up. Yeah, Wimbledon should be coming up in the next.
What do you think of the Serena sister, or the Williams
Oh,
sister?
she won. She won another French
Now,
Open.
her I watch.
She is.
But I watch her for other
If
reasons.
her sister wasn't beating the hell out of her,
Mhm.
God only knows how many majors. Her sister
Yeah.
beat her out of 7 majors.
They're amazing.
I mean, she's won like 16 majors herself, 15 majors. And if she didn't have her little bitch sister beating the heck out of her,
Yeah.
she'd have 20-something. She'd be like, without a doubt,
Really?
Oh, yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
She, her sister beat her up.
They're
you know.
both.
Vanessa, and she's,
Yeah.
I mean, Serena Williams is an athlete and a half.
Right.
Right.
She's awesome.
And then we had some baseball to go over.
Yeah, I was looking at it, and Frank and I had touched on about the Cubs. That are in last place, but they're only like 8 games under 500.
Mhm.
It's not like you get a team. If they could do something heroic here, get some confidence, guys, and you go 10-1.
Right.
Next thing you know, you're 3-4 games behind. Not that big of a deal. Sox are in last place. They got a better record than the Cubs. I believe if my notes are correct, the Cubs are 27 and their Cubs are 25 and 35. Hey, they got 10. You go on a road trip or homestand, you win 8 out of 10 games. All of a sudden, you're 33 and 38. It's not like that.
There's people like the Sox fans at home going to be listening and go, oh my God, a typical Cub fan. Rattle off 10 in a row.
But I'm not saying 10 in a row. I'm saying if they can win 7, 8 out of 10, they could do that. And I'm saying the same thing about the Sox. And I believe the Sox they're 27 and 35. I believe if I have that right. I believe that's their.
You're probably right. Yeah.
And here's the Sox.
Close.
If
I
they
know
do
that.
something, they get like here in a week you play 6 games. You go 5 out of 6. And somebody else just falters. You're right back in the mix of it.
Mhm.
Sox ain't out of it. And I believe that the Sox, I like Robin Ventura as a head coach. I think that he's should have never charged him out against Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan beat the shit out of him, if you remember that. I was in Vegas when that happened.
It was a lucky shot.
Yeah, and he...
That hillbilly.
And what they used to say about Nolan Ryan, they said that if you hit a home run off Nolan Ryan, you never looked at him. You sprinted around the bases.
Because he'd stare at you.
He'd look at you like this here, and if you showed him up, like you did that little home run trot around the track there, you rest assured that next pitch at 98 miles an hour was coming at your skull. Because he didn't give a shit.
Sox are 27 and 34, and the Cubs are 25 and 35.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought. I wrote that down.
I'm a statistician in the booth.
Thank you for that, Frank.
Yeah.
And I guess what did we want to...
Well, we wanted to close
golf.
with our...
Golf, your
Golf.
favorite sport.
My favorite sport. We got the U.S. Open this week. They're out there, Marietta, Pennsylvania. It's in I forget the small town that Marion's at. It's
Georgia?
No, it's in Pennsylvania. It's a small town, but Marion's a great golf course. Yeah, and they got it all tricked up. And it's going to be something to see.
Is Tiger there?
Well, Tiger's he's going to play. Tiger Woods will have a lesser chance of winning a U.S. Open as a major than winning the PGA, the Masters. Masters, I thought that he would. Jack Nicklaus said that he would probably have 10 green jackets. They give you the green jacket.
Right, exactly, right.
And I thought that Tiger Woods would have 10 green jackets. I agreed with Nicklaus
But
because, of course, it's a right to left golf course, which means you get the draw ball. And he was in those days he was hitting the draw ball, and he was hitting it so long. I mean, he's got 7 irons in the par 5s. He's at an eagle, half of them, birdie the other 2 just by mistake. And I thought that he would have a tremendous run at the Masters. I figured he'd get his 10 majors with the Masters. Well, it didn't happen that way. His personal problems have come into play. But
what do you think he'll do in this?
You know what?
What is this called again?
It's different. It's U.S. Open.
US
It's
Open.
difficult because the fairways are so they shorten them up. They're like 30 yards wide. And Tiger's not traditionally really erratic off the tee. If he stays with his game plan, hits his long irons, hits the hybrids, keeps it in the middle, which is a hard thing to do because golf's an ego thing. You know, you want to hit the long drive. I mean, there's holes there that he could blast off on the par fives and he could do some stuff with. But when I was a member at Brookwood Country Club.
I was going to ask, you were a good golfer, right?
Yeah, I had a scholarship at college. I played at Northern Illinois.
Were you, I'm sorry, I know you were a member at Brookwood. Were you a member anywhere else? Well, Brookwood.
Yeah, I joined Brookwood. I joined Itasca Country Club. I was a member of Rolling Green Country Club. You know, afterwards, not simultaneously.
But you did most of your golfing at Brookwood.
At Brookwood.
And where's that at? And where's
in Addison.
Addison,
Actually, it
Illinois.
was Wooddale, I think. Wasn't it
Well, was it
Wooddale?
Wooddale?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was
Right at the border.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the borderline town. You're right, Wooddale.
Yeah. Yes.
And the pro there, Greg LaFerro, nice guy, he used to, he'd take a little action. You know, all members, they want to bet, you know, football and stuff like that. And nothing, you know, just harmless stuff. You know, a couple $100 to say.
Well, you're going back so many years, you couldn't
this
be
is in the
prosecuted.
80s.
This was in your old life. You're rehabilitated as a sports
Listen, this
expert
is
now.
like William Shatner and Mr. Spock going back into the transporter.
So you took action. You took his action. Whose action?
Well, he wound up introducing me to the guy that owned the Oakland Athletics.
Now, this is the golf pro at Brookwood Country Club.
Yes.
Introduced you to whom?
Charlie Finley.
Oh,
Wow.
you're kidding.
Yeah, Charlie Finley.
One of the greatest owners in baseball.
One of the best. The yellow.
Yeah.
You know what
Oakland
he did.
Athletics, the
Yeah.
white shoes. The
White
white
shoes.
she brought in
Reggie
the white
Jackson
shoes.
was a part
Did
of
he
it.
bet baseball?
Yeah, he did. He bet
Did he
baseball.
ever bet against his own team?
Never.
No.
Never. No, he never did. I got to say the truth. He bet.
Did he bet with them?
He always bet. He never tanked his team. And he
Wow.
wasn't even an owner then. He had sold out.
I see.
You know, if he was betting prior to that, I have no knowledge of that.
I see.
He was done as an owner. I don't think that he could even place a bet. You know, he wouldn't do that to himself because he was that type of guy. He was a big bettor. Bet 5,000 a game.
Did he
really?
Oh my God! And bet only the favorites on Sunday. You didn't even have to. He said, just give me all the favorites for 5,000. And my guy that would be working the phone said, well, you want the lines? He says, whatever the lines are in the paper.
Did you ever talk with him? I mean, talk with Charlie Finley?
One time I think I met him. You know, he lived at Lake Point Towers.
So you did meet him.
I did meet him one time. But
It wasn't a
it wasn't a business
significant
meeting. Yeah,
meeting.
it was nothing. You know, we had a cocktail and you know
Yeah.
that was it. But he was a very nice.
You think a lot of the owners...
He used to go hunting a lot out in Indiana, somewhere out there. And that's what he was. And then he kept a place here at Lake Point Towers, and that was like his little crash pad.
I see.
So that he would go. You know, that would be where he set up his shop there, his guns, his whatever he had, all his hunting equipment, and you know he would go.
Well, his team will go down in history as one of the best teams of all
Oh,
time.
Billy B. You know, they made a movie about it. You know, with
Did he ever hunt with friends of yours?
I think that at the time Jackie Cerrone owned the country club, Jackie Cerrone Jr.
The lawyer.
The lawyer.
Right.
And I believe that him and Vince Solano Jr., I believe that they did go hunting with him. I never did.
I see.
I never did.
Yeah.
I'd heard that they had.
I'll tell you what, I
had
wouldn't go
some-
hunting with him.
Well, I mean, he
Why?
was such a nice guy. No, he was a wonderful guy. And I'll never forget the first week. He blows $38,500, and that's all the money in the world to me. Now, Greg's stuff would never total more than $1,800, $2,200, and I wouldn't see him till Saturday because you know members come in on Thursday, Friday.
That's the golf pro.
Golf pro. You know, he was hustling the action, and he'd say, "Well, I'll have it all together for you."
So he was your agent, basically.
He was my agent.
I got you.
And he says, "Hey, you want to come by and get pick that up?" You know, over the phones, we're being very careful of what we say.
Sure.
And I figured that he's got the shorts. I go there, there's 3 stacks of 10, all sequenced money. You know, like
Sounds nice.
I mean, this just came right out of the bank, all wet. Crisp as crisp. 38.5.
Now, was that yours, or did you have to turn it into someone?
Well, I had partners.
Yeah.
You know, I had a partner.
They had to like to see that.
On a Wednesday?
Yeah.
That Wednesday night, what are you doing tonight, son? I became son. rather than
And they all had Oakland A's hats on.
I became
know about
son
that.
that evening,
Yeah.
whereas before, what the fuck, this kid here, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's out doing this shit, you know. Where do you want to go to dinner tonight, son? Oh,
Yeah.
38,000 for... I don't need you. I could take this 38 times and go anywhere for 38.5. I could eat. I could fly to Vegas and have a nice evening out.
And that was what? That was like in the 70s or 80s or?
Early 80s.
Early 80s. So.
Early 80s.
Yeah.
Wow. That was
Good
some
money.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he
Then,
blew-
considering you were only in the early
Oh, I was in
20s.
my early 20s.
Yeah.
And he blew. I had him for years, and he was a consistent. I don't recall paying the guy.
Really?
I mean,
Is that because you stiffed him?
No, I just, he never won. He'd always have a carryover figure.
Right.
He'd pull like 45 the week before, here's 28, and then,
Yeah.
what are you going to do? You're going to tell a guy that's paying 28, he owes you 17, you let him go on the books.
Yeah, sure, sure.
And he might have won back that week 8,500, so we'll just knock
No,
it
you
off.
were going to rip his
And-
wig off or something?
I'm not going to do anything to him, I mean, like I say, when I don't recall paying him, because he was always in the rears to me.
Right.
And he died owing me $62,000.
Right.
When he
No.
died. Yep, he
White
did.
Andrew.
Yeah, right.
62,000.
I won't say the exact figure that I got from him, but I got a pretty good idea of what it was. It was enough to,
To make up for that.
it was a couple Lamborghinis and a few homes, so, I mean, not that I had, but I mean,
Right,
it
that's
came
the kind
out.
of money. So he was
Well,
a good client.
That was a very interesting
Yeah, we went a little over.
piece,
our
but that's
time.
all right. Now, we should probably close the show at this point. Any last-minute thoughts, guys, before I announce that we will be back here Thursday, June
Bring
13th?
back Thursday. If it's okay with you fellas, I'd like to come back Thursday, maybe a little later in the day. And reason being is because the U.S. Open will have
Okay.
played out to,
Right.
because they have early tee times at
Sure.
6 a.m.
Well-
I'd like to get like a pretty much a grasp on
I
it, because
got
we're not
you.
going to be back till Monday.
I see. Well, let me clarify for the audience out there. This obviously is a tape show by the time they hear it. It's not live.
Right.
And we do it a little earlier in the afternoon on Mondays. And it isn't published until roughly 5 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
So, but you're saying you want to actually do the recording a little later.
We'll do that. And if you're publishing,
Yeah.
if it's published by 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
that means all the golf is done. I mean, obviously it's dark outside, nobody's playing, and because it's going to be an interesting week with the golf. Golf's going to be the major
Mhm.
topic of this following week.
What time would you like to do the
I'm thinking
actual
like maybe
tape?
like our time, Marion's in Pennsylvania, that's Eastern time, so I'm thinking like 3 o'clock our time, which would be like 4
Shouldn't
o'clock.
be bad.
Yeah.
And the Hawks are on
3:34
Wednesday night.
And Wednesday night we'll have
The
we'll
Hawks,
have that.
7
and
o'clock.
We'll have a basketball game in by then.
Good.
And we could touch on the baseball.
All right, excellent. And Frank, what was that about the Hawks? They're on Wednesday?
They're on Wednesday,
Oh, sure.
7 o'clock.
All right, gentlemen, I guess we'll end it here. Michael?
Thank you.
Thank you, too.
Wonderful afternoon.
Frank?
Thank
Thank you. Good afternoon, gentlemen.